Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, calling CQDX on 10 metres.
Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, K9 Foxtrot Delta X-ray.
Yeah, K9 Foxtrot Delta X-ray. Very good afternoon to you, old man. The name this side is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. I'm in the southeast of England, about 20 kilometres or 15 miles southeast of the city of London. I'll give you a report on the next over, but you were about 5 and 5, 5 and 6 on the initial call-in that I glanced out the corner of my eye. So back to you, K9 FDX M0 JCF.
Okay, very good, Mark. M0 JCF K9 FDX. Very good. You're 5 and 5 here, Mark. Sounding good. Nice to hear you calling CQ. And sounding good here. My name is Bob. I'm near Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the Midwest. So cloudy day here and a good radio weather. That's about it, Mark. Over.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Living in the southeast of England, we've had a few days of it, you know, miserable weather, but it hasn't been a bad autumn so far, Bob. And nice to hear that Wisconsin's suffering just like we do in the southeast of England. I've actually got a friend who lives in Wisconsin. I first met him down in Florida, believe it or not, but he went back home to Wisconsin during the pandemic. And I haven't seen him since just before the pandemic, but I have spoken to him a few times. Anyway, that was just a side conversation. I can't remember the town off the top of my head, but I can get that for you if you had any interest. But yeah, you're about 5 and 6, 5 and 7 peak, Bob. I'm using just an IC-7300, so you know, very common garden radio nowadays. One of my most modern radios. I do operate quite a lot of old ancient gear, but not today. The antenna's just a 5/8 wave vertical, and I'm running whatever comes out the back of the radio, about 100 watts, maybe just under. And Whiskey X-ray here, well, it's not a bad day. We had a hard frost this morning. It was about -4 degrees Celsius. It's getting up to about 3 or 4 degrees Celsius today. So what's 4 degrees? That's about 10. That's about 43 degrees, I would say, maybe a bit less than that. So it's a bit of a chilly day, but it's a bright sunny day. Some few wispy clouds around, but nothing like the last week where it's just been a lot of rain. So it was quite a refreshing change. Anyway, that was a long over for you there, Bob. K9 FDX M0 JCF.
Okay, Mark. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, it's kind of dreary out here. No leaves, no color. Some of the fields are green, which is good, but yeah, we're getting into it. I don't like this time of year. Where did you go in Florida? And was this person from Wisconsin a ham?
Okay, no, he isn't a ham. And Florida, well, I've been many times, and I met him actually in Orlando at another friend's house. They run a podcast, so they're not hams, but they run an internet-based radio show, and I used to do the same thing many years ago, so I've known them a long time. But no, Ty is not a ham, so that was in Orlando. But generally, we'll flip between sort of Orlando, Clearwater, Madeira Beach, places like that. We like the Mexican Gulf Coast, so that's where we always end up. But of course, you can't go to Florida without going to Orlando and doing the Disney experience, etc. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, I've never done that. A few years ago, I went down to Naples area, Fort Myers Beach and all that, and I really enjoyed it. I like the Gulf Coast, so I hope to get back. I'd like to go there now, but my wife is working, and I don't know, I can't get her. She's so dedicated to her job, and I don't know why. We got to get out of here. But anyway, we got Thanksgiving coming up and all that, but I really enjoyed it. It was the first time in my adult life I had been down there, and I really like the Everglades. I just love it down there, just the tropical and not too many people. But anyway, okay, well, the 7300 sounds really good. They all do. That's a great radio. It's the right prices. ICOM is really smart to come out with that, and there's nothing wrong with a 7300. probably going to end up being the most popular HF transceiver of all time, I would say. And I'm running a Yaesu here. I actually own a 7300 also, and I really liked it. I really do. I used it in fact, I took it to Florida with me when I went, but I found I wasn't using it very much, so I let it go when they were kind of in short supply, and I got what I paid for it pretty much. But anyway, I'm using the Yaesu CQDX 5000 MP ACOM 2100 amplifier. It's 1.5 kilowatts, 5-element monoband Yagi, 17 meters high. I have a 5/8 way vertical tube. I switched to that, and you drop way down, but it's very high. It's up at 30 meters high. So stick with the Yagi antenna. You're coming in best on this one, Mark. M0JCF K9FDX.
Yeah, K9FDX M0JCF. Well, so your modulation, you know, the audio quality is very good. I only bought this radio because I was left in a silent key gift, we'll say. It was the R8600, or is it the 6800? Anyway, it's ICOM's flagship receiver. He was a shortwave listener. He was an octogenarian and a shortwave listener, and he passed away, and this radio got left to me, and I had no real use for it, so I sold it. And I bought this IC-7300 second hand. You know, I paid about £850 for it, and I still had change from the receiver. That's how expensive the receiver was. But you know, with all due respect to him, I had no use for the receiver. It would have gathered dust, whereas the IC-7300 gets you know, a lot more use. So he wasn't a licensed hand, but a very keen shortwave listener, and I think this does him a lot of respect. You know, I've had it a few years now. Before that, I had a TS590S, you know, a beautiful Kenwood radio. Really liked it, and really enjoyed the DSP functions. But I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about with these new SDR type radios, which is why I bought it. When I was down in the States last year, actually, my wife and I were there just last year, down at Sand Key at Madeira Beach. And I actually took a small radio with me, a little micro SDX, one of those Chinese radios. But where we were staying, the RF hash, the noise was just too bad. So I didn't do any work in there. I did work the repeaters around there. On UHF 70 centimeters, and when I went up to visit the ham radio outlet in Winter Springs, they allowed me to use one of their Kenwood radios on display, and I actually managed to use a Whiskey 4 prefix on my call sign, and worked a few stations back home, mainly club members from my local radio club, because I gave them a heads up on the on a WhatsApp group that, you know, I was doing it. I was calling CQ, so it ticked a box there. And it's great that you mentioned Naples. You know, my wife and I had our wedding anniversary, our wedding honeymoon in Naples down on the Mexican Gulf Coast. So yeah, we know the area. Obviously that was 1995, so we haven't been back to the Naples. I think the closest we come to Naples last year, we visited Siesta Key down at Sarasota way. That's as far south that we went last year. And yeah, it's yeah, I've just checked up where my friend lives, and you must know where he is. He's in Fond du Lac, up there by Winnebago Lake. So he lives in the town of Fond du Lac, which is just up the Interstate 41 from you, Bob. K9FDX M0JCF.
Okay, very good, Mark. Yeah, M0JCF K9FDX. Fond du Lac, yeah, that's not far from here at all. About an hour away. And I go through there from time to time, and on the way to Oshkosh for the EAA AirVenture show in July. So, yep, know where that is. That's not far at all. And, yeah, Winnebago, big lake. And so, great. Well, yeah, that's nice. I'd like to get to Florida. You get to Florida more often than I do. And I even have a free place to stay down there. My wife's friend has a nice little place in Naples. It's not on the water, but that's good because it doesn't get flooded with the hurricanes. But we haven't been there since the bad hurricane. I forgot which one that was, but anyway, we'll get there again, I guess. We'll see. All right, Mark, very good. Well, I'm sure your friend would be happier using the 7300. I know what that, yeah, the IC-7300. I never used one of those, but yeah, it's an expensive receiver, and fortunately, there's still demand for those. But anyway, yeah, you made a good choice. Yeah, the TS590, I've had a few of those as well. A 590 and a 590 SG, yeah. And yeah, they're very nice. They're kind of plain looking, but the performance and it's just a nice radio. I actually had a TS890, and I like that 590 better than the 890. I thought it had better audio quality, even though there's no band scope. I didn't like that TS890. It was an expensive radio. It wasn't as good as this 5000 in my opinion. And I had the FTDX 101D. I didn't like that one either. I was sticking with this 5000. I've been running these for over 10 years. I have 3 of them. I just love them. The only drawback is the band scope is not real time. It's delayed. But other than that, I find it pretty hard to beat. Okay, Mark, back to you, and then I'll let you run. I'm going to go get some breakfast, and I'll look outside again at the dreary day and decide if I have some work I should do out there, but I got to let it warm up a little bit. It's kind of cool, 41 degrees. About 15 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, Mark. Over.
Yeah, I know, I know the feeling. You got the similar temperatures to us, and of course you're right on Lake Michigan, aren't you? So you know, I'd imagine that's like living next to an ocean. Really, I'd imagine you get some cool winds blowing across that, especially down from the north, down from Canada, and yeah, obviously a lot larger than Winnebago. That's a pond in comparison to Michigan. Well, it's been great speaking to you, Bob, and nice to get an insight into what it's like up there. Just before you leave, I'm recording you almost peaking 5 and 9 and consistently around 5 and 8. I just wondered if you got a report for me. Back to you.
If I have what?
Just a report, just a signal report, audio report.
Okay, audio is very good. Quite a bit of there's fluctuation. The signal anywhere from 5 to 5 and 7. Audio's fine. Those radios always sound good, and yeah, Lake Michigan, we get quite an influence here from that. What happens is we get a low pressure system with a counterclockwise flow, and the wind comes out when we get a strong storm. The northeast, it comes out of the northeast and blows across Lake Michigan, and it's cold and damp here, incredibly damp. And if you go about another 20 miles west, I'm 20 miles inland, another maybe 20 miles west of here, and they don't feel the effects. And I've ridden a motorcycle, and with that, it'll be nice and warm 40 miles away, and once you hit that wall, you can feel that cold. And it also happens in the springtime too. It can be really cold. Lake Winnebago will do that too. It has quite an influence on the weather. It's a big enough body of water. So anyway, you do a good, Mark. We'll see you later. Good afternoon and good evening and good morning from Wisconsin. Mike 0 JCF K9FDX.
Yeah, K9FDX M0 JCF. Will you go and enjoy your breakfast, Robert? Or Bob, sorry, I'm reading while I'm speaking, and it all gets mixed up in my head. But yeah, Bob, it's great speaking to you. I'll be sure to let Ty know that I spoke to a local. I know you're an hour away, but I'll give him the idea of the weather report and everything. That'll fox him somewhat. But you take care. Look out for me again on 10 or 12 meters, Bob. Come and say hello. And thanks for that report. Got it down in my paper logbook. That's all. I do confirm on QRZ if that's what you need, but I like to keep a paper logbook, old school style. But all the best. Have a great day, and try and warm up a bit. Until the next time, I say goodbye. 73 to everyone around you. K9FDX M0 JCF. Clear with you. Cheers, mate.
Okay, cheers, Mark. 73.
QRZ, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, southeast of England, listening. Okay, nothing is heard. CQDX on 10. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot calling CQDX 10 meters.